The heavy wooden door clicked shut behind her parents. The echo lingered like an ache in the vast, silent living room. Jannat stood still, her hands trembling at her sides, her eyes fixed on the empty space where her father had been moments ago. His last words, "Come back with me, daughter," still trembled in the air, colliding with her own. "I am happy with what Allah chose for me." She exhaled slowly, trying to steady the storm inside her. The silence pressed in until she felt it. That gaze. She turned. There he was. Jasim sat at the threshold in his wheelchair, half-shadowed, unreadable. He had seen everything. Her father's tears, her quiet defiance, her mother's coldness, and that last moment when she had chosen to stay. For a long second, neither of them moved. The afternoon light spilled through the tall windows, stretching across the marble floor like a fragile bridge between them. Jannat opened her mouth to speak, to say something, anything, but no words came. A sudden wave of guilt washed over her. What if he had heard her stepmother's cruel words? But the guilt didn't last long. It was soon replaced by a quiet ache, a sting of disappointment at his words that still echoed in her mind. "You should have left with your father." Just one sentence. But it was enough. The words struck harder than he intended, sharp, final, cruel. Something inside her cracked. Yes, she felt unwanted. That same, familiar ache she'd felt before, when her stepmother had hurried to marry her off like she was a burden, when she hadn't even been asked for her consent. And now again this man, her husband, the one who had wanted to divorce her without even her consent, and now, a day later, told her she should have left. Knowing that she wanted to give a chance to their relation, the weight of it was unbearable. She turned away, her throat tight. But Jasim's own words echoed painfully in his head. He hadn't meant them, not like that. They had slipped out in the helplessness of the moment, his pride reacting before his heart could speak. And now, seeing her still, her shoulders trembling slightly, he felt a stab of regret so sharp it nearly stole his breath. Her tears glistened before she turned her face away. The disappointment, the hurt, it was all there, written so clearly on her face that he felt suffocated by his own cruelty. "What have I done?" He wanted to take the words back, but it was too late. She moved past him quietly, her dupatta brushing against his arm as she stepped out into the backyard to breathe. For a while, there was only the sound of her uneven breaths and the faint rustle of leaves outside. Then she felt it, someone's presence behind her. She turned and found Jasim there, his chair drawn closer, his eyes soft, filled with guilt. He tried to speak, fumbling over his own remorse. I didn't mean those words. It was just a reaction. Your mother's words, they got to me. I shouldn't have said that." She looked at him, her gaze steady now, tired but not angry. "You don't need to be sorry," she said quietly. "Some people are just born to be rejected." His heart twisted. She continued, her voice breaking only slightly. "My mother died when I was born. My stepmother rejected me. She never gave me a mother's warmth. And you," she paused, her breath catching, "you rejected me the very day we got married. And now you want me to leave. I won't force myself on anyone. I know my place. There are people whose consent never matters, not when they're asked to marry, not when they're asked to leave. Their fate is just decided for them." Jasim's chest tightened. Every word she said carved into him like truth he didn't want to hear. Before she could walk away, his hand shot out, trembling but firm, and he caught her wrist, not to stop her, just to stop himself from losing her again. His voice was rough, low. "I'm sorry for everything. For last night, for today. Every word that hurt you. I regret them all." He took a slow breath. "Last night, what I did, I thought I was doing it for you. I thought you deserved better. But you're right. I should have talked to you first calmly, like a man who respects his wife. And today it was just my reaction to your parents' words. I didn't mean to push you away." He looked up at her, his eyes dark, sincere. "You're my wife. This house is yours as much as mine. You're not a burden. Not to me, not ever. I just don't want you to carry me as a burden. If you still wish to give this marriage a chance, I'll leave that choice to you. But if ever, you feel this life with me is too heavy, if you wish to walk away, I won't stop you. I'll make sure you never suffer. You'll have comfort, stability, freedom, everything you deserve." Jannat looked at him quietly for a moment. Then she said softly, "If you're giving me so many rights, can I ask for one more?" He stilled, breath catching. "What?" She gathered her courage, her voice almost a whisper. "Your companionship." He froze. His heartbeat stumbled. She wasn't asking for luxury, freedom, or pity. She was asking for him. "I'm not saying I'll intrude in your life," she continued gently. "We can start as two people who just need someone by their side. To talk to listen, to stand with. If you want, you can draw the limits. I'll respect them. I just don't want either of us to live like strangers under one roof." He stared at her, utterly silent. It felt unreal. This woman, pure-hearted and selfless, was offering him something he had long forgotten how to receive: companionship. Her eyes held no judgment, no pity. Just a quiet, genuine warmth that reached right through his defenses. To him, she didn't look human in that moment. She looked divine. So innocent. So unaware of her own worth. Any sane man would fall for her, and he was no exception. He had just forgotten how to feel wanted. And now, she was offering him that feeling back. Slowly, hesitantly, she raised her hand in a friendly gesture. He wanted to grab it, to pull her into his arms, to crush her against his chest, to tell her how she'd just breathed life into a man who'd stopped believing in it. But he stopped himself. "Don't scare her. Don't rush this." He took her hand carefully, his touch gentle yet firm, a silent promise. There was warmth in his grip, an intensity that made her cheeks turn red. She tried to pull her hand back, flustered, and that brought him back to himself. He released her hand, reluctant but controlled. She smiled hesitantly. "I'll check on Naima and Roma API," she said softly before turning away. As she walked off, Jasim exhaled a long breath and shut his eyes. "What am I doing?" he thought bitterly. "What am I even thinking?" He had promised himself he'd never hope again, never crave what life had already denied him. He had given her all the rights to walk away, and yet, in one moment, she had given him something far more dangerous: hope. He leaned back in his chair, his thoughts tangled. "Don't hurt her again," he warned himself silently. "She doesn't deserve pain. Not from you. Not again." He looked toward the door she had just walked through, his jaw tightening. "If I let my guard down, I'll want her, and I have no right to want her. I can't afford to fall for kindness." But deep down he knew. Something inside him had already shifted. A wall had cracked, and through that crack, light had finally found its way in.